but I also think that like people are making, Carson Hocevar out to be a dirty driver and all this stuff, which the questions are valid. Like there's a reason why we're all asking these questions about him, but I don't think that he has crossed the line in this case to anything egregious.
Following is a production of the Garage Area.
All right, welcome into the Garage Area. This is the Nashville recap show where we saw Ryan Blaney take the checkered flag in the Cup Series. We saw Justin Allgaier win the Xfinity Series race, and Rajah Caruth take the checkered flag in the Truck Series. Still got the replay going on behind us here. Our picks, the way that ended up, you picked Brad Keselowski, I picked William Byron. How confident were you in Keselowski having the ability to have a good day going into the weekend?
I don't know. I just kind of it was more of a feel good pick, I think. I thought he would do better than what he did, considering the way he finished up at Charlotte or whatever. I thought maybe they actually found some speed. Did but it didn't seem to pan out as well as I thought it would.
Did you feel like because of the tremendous amount of lead that you have on me that you kind of had the ability to stretch it out a little bit and make a
Yeah,
pick like that? Yeah.
there was a couple of dark horse picks I thought about picking. One of them I wish I would have went with, but
Who are you thinking?
Hocevar.
Hocevar, yeah. Yeah, he's been pretty fast lately as well. I had William Byron. I thought that he was going to end up battling back a little harder than he did for the dominance that he had at Charlotte, and kind of let another one this year get away from him at Charlotte. And he was very fast all night, just never a race leading car. Um, I don't know. I felt good with that pick. I hate picking William Byron though because it seems like whenever he runs well, Logano runs well too, and I obviously want Joey Logano to run well over William Byron, but having to have the opportunity to root for them both at the same time is kind of a pain. But I again thought Byron would be fast. He got me a sixth place finish. Brad ended up finishing 23rd. What'd that do for our points between the
Um,
two of us?
I think you gained like 34 points, so I still have an 80-point lead.
It's still pretty big on your part, but to make up 30, I mean that's a lot.
Yeah, that's one thing we talked about this point system in NASCAR itself. It was curiosity what a full length season would do with the stage points and stuff involved for
Yeah.
NASCAR, like a championship, no chase or anything. Because a driver can make up 30 points on another driver in a weekend and stuff and whatnot. So it'd be interesting coming down to the line.
Yeah, I agree. As far as the race as a whole, we're gonna have to give our rating on it here in a second, but let's talk about it. How did you feel about the racing itself?
Um, there was a couple times I felt like, oh, there's a shot we have some good battles, especially when what was it, Byron, Hamlin, and Blaney. I think it was end of stage two or something. They were mixing it up. The one time they were mixing it up was because they caught Kyle Larson and couldn't pass because he was uh, air blocking, which
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, seeing this and how Larson stayed ahead of him, I'm like, man, I don't know how well this is going to be. They had a decent battle with the three of them in the end of the second stage, and but you could tell Blaney had the fastest car, and then Byron caught him and passed him, and that's the only way Blaney got back by Hamlin was because Byron kind of helped stir things up, and then Blaney got back by both of them. So it just you can kind of see how the air affected the race and stuff, and it just I don't know. Anytime I see that, I just feel in my gut that this doesn't feel like racing that I want to see.
yeah. No, that's a very valid point. And the issue is, well, let's just kind of walk through the race and kind of some of the things that happened. Um, we both we were able to watch it together here in the garage area, and had a little bit of a late start to it to the race. They were already 50 some laps in when we were able to get here and get set up to watch it. Uh, and they were in the middle of a pit cycle then, and it just didn't seem like, for at least what I saw for the first stage, that anything got real racy until the end of the stage. And that was exactly what you're talking about. Is Larson was trying to keep from going a lap down. Hamlin was leading the pack. I think it was Blaney. Was it Blaney that was racing with him, or Bell?
I must have been Bell because Blaney stayed long on that strategy. You're talking to first stage?
Yeah,
Yeah, Blaney stayed long on the fuel strategy,
yeah.
and he was like back of the top 10 at that point.
Okay. Whoever it was, basically, they were kind of locked in line there and couldn't pass each other. And I was like, I had the same feeling you did at that point. Like, it's going to be a long night. Um, Second stage, it seemed like they just wrecked every 5 laps. Every restart, somebody was going around and wrecking. Um, there's two wrecks that I want to talk about. One of them is, let's just start with the big one, the Carson Hocevar and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. It wasn't a big wreck, but it seems like it's got a lot of steam behind it as far as people criticizing Hocevar. Uh, how do you feel about that? Do you think, first of all, do you think that Carson Hocevar did something wrong?
Hmm. I don't think so, really. Yeah, he could have gave some room, but I feel like in these cars, you let off the throttle only a little bit, you're losing the positions behind you. Um, you know, although Ricky probably did a normal arc into the corner, you could make the argument that you could say, "Oh, I thought he was going to run a higher line than that," and I don't know, remember Hosevar's words after the race, but he said something on the lines of that he didn't feel like that. He felt like he had the momentum and should have been left the lane open. I think it's every right for Ricky to come down and try and block him too. So to me, it's a 50-50
It's a
incident
it's a
and
racing incident
racing
for you.
deal. Yeah.
Um, I don't know 100% what my major feeling is on this. I do feel like Hocevar could have given him a break. Um, I feel like if he was there, that it's Ricky's spotter's job to let him know Carlo, you know. But Ricky felt like he just ran into the back of him. So if he wasn't there, if he didn't have position and he just got too much momentum rolling into the corner and turned Ricky by hitting him in the back of the bumper, that's got to be Carson's fault to me.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd have to watch it again to really digest every bit of that.
yeah,
But I feel like if the contact was made where the car behind was inside of the other car, well then it's the spotter's fault. Like, hey, Carlo,
yeah. I mean, it was a bumper hit for sure, but it just felt like they both met at the same point, and it was just kind of Ricky got the short end of the deal. That's my view on it.
but I feel like if a car is, even if Ricky's arcing it out a little wider or whatever the case is, and coming down in front of the 77, I feel like it should be, especially at that point in the race, the 77's job to lift.
I mean, eventually, I mean, he obviously lifted at some point, but maybe he just didn't expect Ricky to come down like he did and was going to follow his arc in there. I, I don't know what to say about it. I just, I'm not in their heads in the moment. So
So you're just leaving it as a racing deal.
yeah,
I'm gonna say that it's probably Carson's fault, but I don't think he deserves the blame that he's getting out of all this. Um, I think the blame is his, but I also think that like people are making, Carson Hocevar out to be a dirty driver and all this stuff, which the questions are valid. Like there's a reason why we're all asking these questions about him, but I don't think that he has crossed the line in this case to anything egregious.
yeah, this was not his normal wreck somebody on purpose or driving through people because he's mad at them or causing wrecks to bring out a caution or things like that, like he's known for in the past. To me, it's just a normal racing incident.
I agree with you that he was probably being aggressive and trying not to break his momentum and continue to try to gain a position. And it's hard to fault him for that, especially with the way that they're handcuffed with these race cars anymore. Um, but yeah, I think that he could have cut Ricky a break. I think that would have been a better thing for him in the long term. That being said, I don't think he necessarily did anything wrong, but he did wreck a race car. And that's not good for him in the long term, especially if Ricky decides to retaliate in some way. And I don't know if he will or not, but that's not going to be good for Carson because Carson's in a position where he could possibly make the playoffs just with the way that he's running, especially if he runs like he has lately. And so I don't know. Um, all that to say, I don't think that it's fair to blame Hocevar as much as people are, but I get the criticism that goes with him as well. The other wreck was the Eric Jones, Christopher Bell situation. I've heard mixed takes on this. I heard people say that Jones wrecked him. I don't think Jones wrecked him.
as far as I know, Jones was already on the bottom of the track and Bell came down into him. And I don't think Bell was really malicious in blocking. They were nearly four wide at that point, and I think they just got shuffled and he got the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
So I don't really put blame on anybody in that one.
To me, it looked like that Jones had the momentum and he was inside, and Bell was trying to block, and he blocked him clear down to the apron. And now, I mean, Jones to make the corner has got to come back up on the racetrack, and Bell was still trying to find his way into his corner entry and just got turned around. It didn't kill him because he ended up being, I don't know where he finished, uh, but he ended up finishing. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Well, Jones ended up getting seventh. That was a pretty good night for him. Bell ended up finishing 10th. So it obviously, even with backing into the fence like that, he didn't have a terrible finish as a result of that. So that was fairly impressive by them as well that they had that kind of damage and were able to continue on the way that they did without completely having their night ruined. There is there's a kind of a perception that because guys like that and Larson as well that went to the back ended up bringing themselves back to the front and finishing well that the passing couldn't have been that bad. But even Freddie Kraft said today on Door Bumper Clear that that it looks that way because of the fact that those guys back there have much superior pit crews. They're gaining spots on pit road. They have faster cars in the first place, where the advantage that you have with a faster car is on a restart. So they're making their spots up on pit road and on restarts. And that's why they were able to come back to the front as well as they were, is because of situations like that, not that they were passing cars on the racetrack. And I think that's what led the perception to be that, well, they gained a lot of spots, so they must have been able to pass. A NASCAR race or any kind of race, it's not like a football game or a baseball game to where the play that you're watching on the field is what's taking place. That's the entire picture. Everything that you need to see is happening right there in front of you. Whereas in a race, it's like you've got 38 different things happening to these guys. There's 38 different scenarios taking place, or 40 scenarios, whatever the case is, of how many cars are out there, if who's pitting, when they're pitting, how many tires are taken. Did they take fuel only? Are they going to try to stretch it? There's so many things that you got to watch to have that big picture that it's easy to miss. Like we even have the question sometimes too, how did that guy get up there? Because we're watching other drivers and what they're doing. So even people that have been watching racing as long as we have and are interested in what's taking place miss that all the time because there's 40 guys to pay attention to. You're not watching a pitcher throw a ball in a batter try to hit it. It's there's so many things taking place at once. And I think that's why it's easy to just look at the stat sheet after the race and be like, oh, uh, Christopher Bell finished 10th after getting wrecked. He must have been able to pass. Yeah, but how did he gain those positions is really the question that you should be asking. Another wreck that took place was just Alex Bowman being a hack and taking out the four of Noah Gregson, accidentally, obviously. But I asked you the question as we were watching the race, and I'll ask it here again. How does Alex Bowman have a job at Hendrick still?
It's- I mean, he's still, I don't know, he's top 10 in points after the last race, but well, going
How
in,
many races has he won?
well, nothing this year, but
Mm. How many races did he win last year?
one.
And how did he do that? How did he win that race?
S- some type of strategy. I don't totally remember, but
Maybe a little contact with the 23 as well.
possibly.
Yeah.
I can make the same argument about Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
He won one race last year,
Well,
dude.
okay, but how many championships does Chase Elliott have?
Well, one
Okay.
in the old car.
How many championships does Alex Bowman have?
He don't have any, but
What
how
about
many
Nick?
championships does Denny Hamlin have?
He doesn't have any either. But how many race wins does he have?
Well, a lot, of course.
Okay, so he's winning something,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, Bowman still runs up front a lot of the time, top tens and stuff. I mean, he's still better than three quarters of the field out there. So
He's in a
it's
Hendrick car.
yeah,
I could run top 10 in a Hendrick car.
I'd like to see you try.
So would I.
uh, I mean, obviously he's the one they're talking about on the hot seat. I don't know if he has one more year left on his contract or
I don't know.
what it is, but obviously he's probably the odd man out when
So,
they decide anything.
so tell me this: if you think he's deserving of his ride, what's he need to do? Well, how does he need to fix it? What's he need to do to get better?
Um, Same thing Chase Elliott does, I guess. I don't know. Whether it's just the car or the crew chief or way they have things set up.
Who do you think's a better race car driver, Alex Bowman or Chase Elliott?
Well, I'm going to say Chase Elliott.
Why?
I just know when they drove, obviously Chase is more decorated, more wins and things like that. I don't know if I have any more of that. I don't think Bowman's a totally terrible driver either, but um,
Okay, let's play the game. Let's play the game. Uh, who's a better race car driver, Alex Bowman or Chris Buescher?
I, as far as I say Alex Bowman. He's got more than Busher as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Alex Bowman or Daniel Suarez?
Bowman.
Alex Bowman or Chase Briscoe?
Right now, I'm still taking Bowman.
Cindric.
I'd probably put Cindric.
You put Cindric above Bowman?
From what I've seen this year,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. Uh, Bowman or Allmendinger?
taking Bowman.
Bowman or Keselowski?
Mm. Currently, Bowman. If it had been the old car, I'd take Keselowski.
Bowman or Preece?
Um, right now, I see Bowman up front more than Priest.
Bowman or Barry?
Uh, I think Barry.
Uh, Bowman or the guy that finished 36th this week? Oh, that was Alex Bowman. Okay.
Because he was
Bowman. Oh, how'd he wreck?
he lost it and
Oh,
spun out.
okay. This is of his own
Oh
doing.
yeah, yeah. Kyle Larson last week wrecked and spun out himself too. Are you gonna argue about that too?
Probably. Bowman or Stenhouse?
Bowman.
You got some terrible takes on Alex
Okay.
Bowman. All right.
The only time I see Ricky up front for the most part is at Talladega or Daytona.
He's driving the 47 car for Hayek.
Yeah, he was driving for Roush too.
Roush was stinking in those
Yeah.
years that he drove those cars. Roush has a resurrection since Keselowski came there. They
Yeah.
were a dying team when RS.
I can't argue against that, but if he was so good, why isn't he in more better top tier equipment?
Why is Kyle Busch at Richard Childress?
Well, he wanted too much money. He had a deal and turned it down. That's Kyle's fault
You're
there.
right. You're right. It is Kyle's fault, but sometimes. So I guess my point would be, if he just wanted too much money to run at Joe Gibbs Racing, why didn't he just get another really good race car?
Well, there wasn't anything out there.
Okay, so that answers my question as to why Ricky Stenhouse doesn't have a better ride.
But he wants too much money.
No, because there aren't any other ones available. Like, Ricky's not a Kyle Busch tier driver,
Yeah.
but Alex Bowman's not a Ricky Stenhouse tier driver either. Bowman stinks.
I don't think he's as bad as you're making him out to be.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
saying he's a top tier driver.
I don't think he's nearly as good as you're making him out to be. Okay. Stage 3, there was kind of a lot of, we just got to stage 3 in this race now,
Yeah.
after this whole conversation. There was a lot of fuel savings and strategy, and it seemed like it pinned everybody to the bottom. Denny talked about it on his podcast, Action's Detrimental, that dust coming off the tires, there weren't enough cars running the top lane to keep that cleaned off so that other guys could continually run that lane. Um, that does seem like that's a little bit of a tire problem. It didn't seem like tires fell off as much as I was hoping they would. You could argue about it being a concrete racetrack. I'm not even going to get into that. I have much more of an issue with the car itself and dirty air than I do with the tires. So I'll leave the Goodyear thing live for right now. Um, and basically, it didn't really get that exciting. It was just Blaney had the strategy and it kind of worked out for him.
Yeah, we were talking about air and passing and the guys like Larson and Bubba and stuff being in the back. I believe Blaney started near around 20th of this race, and that first stage is what won him the race.
Yeah.
He stayed out long, and then at the stage break, they only had to put a couple seconds less fuel in and only put it on right sides, and he was up front for the rest of the race. He may not have led all of those races until really the final stage, but that fuel strategy put Penske up front, and Ryan Blaney was the beneficiary.
Yeah. And he ends up getting the win without a whole lot of flair, but that didn't really bother me as far as my opinion on the race.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings us back full circle to what our rating of the race is going to be. Straight up in the Jeff Gluck poll, would you vote yes or no that it was a good race?
I voted no.
I did as well. And it's 100%. It's nothing against Ryan Blaney. It's nothing against the way that the race played out. It is 100% the end of that first stage that Kyle Larson is able to just disturb the air enough to keep those guys behind him. And it's nothing against Kyle Larson either. It's just the fact that the underbody downforce, the way that the air runs underneath the car and then flows up in the air to make it disturb it so bad that you don't have any downforce on the nose of your car if you're the trailing car, and you can't gain enough grip to pass or to make a run. And that's the worst. The worst part is that you have to build up enough momentum to make a run to pass somebody instead of just mashing the throttle and going.
You know, like the Xfinity car, you get a run, and all you gotta do is just get to the bumper of the guy in front of you, just move him up the track, and you have clean air and pass the guy.
That's
That
awesome.
this car here, you get the run, you better be inside that guy towards the corner, or else you're gonna get air blocked. You get to his bumper in the corner, you're going up the track.
Yeah. Um, so what do you put on it for a number if you got to rate the
Uh,
race?
I'll go 5.5 because I have like a 5 on a Martinsville race that I think this was a little bit better than.
I'm go. It's funny you say 5.5 because I was going back and forth between a 6 and a 5,
Yeah,
but I think I'm just gonna go with a 5.
yeah,
Um, it was a good race. I mean, I'm a Blaney would be if I had to pick somebody other than Logano that I'm a fan of, it would be Ryan Blaney. I like him. Uh,
yeah. I don't mind Ryan Blaney at all.
so I guess my point being is the winner doesn't factor in for me as far as making it a good race or not. Uh, it just the way that the racing played out. I don't even mind a strategy race, which this ended up being pretty much. It's just I wish that fast cars could pass. That's the bottom line, and they couldn't do that in this one.
Yeah, it was funny watching the end of the race. Ryan Blaney had like a 5-second lead, and he was stuck in lap traffic, and Hocevar was running him down until Hocevar got to lap traffic, and then it just all stalled out, and you know, Hamlin was catching Hocevar until Hamlin caught Hocevar, and then they just rode out the rest of the race.
Yeah. So Ryan Blaney gets the victory, his first one of the year, even though he's been in position to win several races this year.
You could argue he should have 3 or 4 by now.
Right. I guess that two questions here. One, do you think that this is going to be like the first of many for Blaney? Do you think that he's setting himself up well enough in these races that the dam could break now that he's got one this year?
I think so. I mean, I, I, I hopefully he's used up all his bad luck through the beginning of the year. To me, him and Larson have really been the best two.
Yeah,
And Bell, I mean, I still put Larson at 1,
yeah.
and Bell and Blaney are like number 2 together somewhere in there. Those are my top 3,
And
4 with
Byron's
Hamlin.
Byron's been up there as well.
Yeah,
I mean, he's had some off weeks, but
yeah,
he's consistently been up near the
yeah,
front. I'm sure the point standings reflect that as well.
probably. Yeah.
Do you think, I guess my second question here is Penske kind of, it seems like when they win a race, they fade till the playoffs. If any of them are not going to do that, I would think it would be the 12 because it seems like he's the one that usually is fast all the time.
Yeah.
But like Logano, when he wins, it's like, okay, now you don't see him again for a while until it's time to make some ground. Do you think that that's what'll happen here? Is that the Penske cars will fade, or do you think that they're running strong enough that you'll just always see them up front every week?
Um, I would hope they would stay up front. There has been other people have made that sentiment that it feels like they get their wins, get locked in, and then they just kind of hide everything until the playoffs, and
Yeah,
that's when they bring out their best stuff.
yeah,
Um, it's I don't know what they'll do. Ryan Blaney I feel like to me he's been the most talented one there. You know, even when in the playoffs when everyone had their speed, Ryan Blaney was still the fastest guy there. I just think he's going to be fast everywhere.
yeah.
I don't see him slowing down any.
I mean, my driver's got 3 championships, but that's fine.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
in a messed up point system. So,
so Blaney's in the same point system.
well, yeah, because he gets tramped down at the inopportune time.
Tramped down at inopportune
Or
times.
I don't know what I'm
What are
trying to
you
say.
saying? Okay.
I'm having a
Uh,
stroke, I guess.
yeah, all the Penske cars have won now, if you count the Wood brothers as well.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that they've all won at this point in the year?
Um, Not really. I mean, they could argue that Logano maybe, because to me,
Out of all
well,
these cars, Logano's the one you're arguing about?
Well, I can see Cindric winning at one of the restrictor plate course tracks, whatever, which is what his win was. So,
Yeah,
but to me, Logano had only had speed. What week did he win that?
Texas.
Texas. That was the only week I really remember him
He
having.
finished fourth this week.
Well, I mean, yeah, but dominating. He actually had a car that you thought you could win that week.
I think he could have won this week if he got out front and
Well,
stayed there.
anybody could have won if they got up front, but that's neither here nor there. But um, Josh Berry, if you want to count that car, um, as well as he's been and stuff this year, I was surprised how well that car has run, and he probably that Texas mistake he had, he could have won Texas. But other than that, I mean, I assumed I assumed Logano would have got a win, but how well Penske as a whole has been running has been a little bit more impressive.
I'm surprised that Barry's got a win. I'm not shocked by it, but I'm surprised that like him and Cindric both would be the weak links in that chain to me.
Yeah,
I definitely would have thought that Blaney would have had one by now. Definitely would have. I wouldn't have guessed that Blaney would be the last one to win.
yeah,
That's a fact.
that's true.
Um, and here's the other thing is we don't have any oddball winners yet this year either. Like your only argument would be Josh Berry. Everybody else is like a regular playoff driver that's won a race so far this year. Do you think that that's a little weird? Or do you think we just haven't been to enough oddball tracks yet to get oddball
That's what
winners?
I'm thinking because now we got Michigan's a normal track coming up next, but then we got the road course down at
Mexico.
Mexico. I mean, we still have Watkins Glen, we still have Daytona, um, Sonoma, another road course. I can't think of too many more oddballs that would pop
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, that's Chicago. Did you say Chicago Street?
Oh no, I forgot about that one. So there's still a chance for a couple more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We'll see what that all looks like when we get through that part. I am again, I'm on the same page as you. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more oddball winners, but at the same point, we haven't been to enough oddball tracks yet, in my opinion. Uh, Denny Hamlin got his 700th start this week. It seemed like with a lot less pomp and circumstance that Jimmy Johnson got for his 700th. I understand that Jimmy's been retired and has come back, and that's probably there's nothing else good to talk about with Jimmy Johnson right now. And if that's part of the issue as to why they were talking about him so much with his 700th and not so much with Denny, but I got a question here. Jimmy Johnson won 7 championships. I don't know what his race wins are. They're a lot.
83 or 4, something like that.
Would you rather have the amount of success if you were a race car driver, which you were,
Yeah.
would you rather have the amount of success that Jimmy Johnson had in the span of time that he had it? Or would you rather run a competitive car week in and week out, still competing for wins and competing for championships for the amount of time that Denny's had?
I think I'd rather have Jimmy's career.
You'd rather just have the 7 championships
Yeah.
and it all be over already.
Yeah. I think so.
Man, I don't know. It's a hard question to ask because it's like, do you want 7 championships or do you want no championships? Is really the issue
Yeah.
that you're asking, the question that you're asking. But to be able to run in the same car every week at one of the top 3 teams in NASCAR, knowing that you have a chance to win every single race, minus maybe the road courses, that's pretty awesome.
You could argue Jimmy still would be in a Hendrick ride if he didn't want to retire. I just, I don't know. To me, it was
Who was Jimmy Johnson's replacement?
Larson.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe the writing was on the wall at that
That's
point. I
kind of
don't
what
know.
I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's we don't know all of that, but I would hate to think that uh, they would just push a guy out, 7-time champ out for that, but
Who's your favorite football team?
Pittsburgh.
What'd they do to Ben Roethlisberger?
Oh, he was getting washed. Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, you got me there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah,
You get old and you're not competitive anymore.
yeah.
And that's what happened to Jimmy, in my opinion. Uh, okay. I've got on our notes here that I have a surprise question for you.
Okay.
So here's what I'm going to hit you with. Well, we'll close the cup race topic with this. Uh, So before we get to that point, I want to say this. I thought that their Amazon Prime coverage was great. I thought they did an amazing job. They are my favorite broadcasting service right now. I don't care if you can't find the channel, go get Amazon Prime and watch these races because the broadcast is that much better. You even sat here and said to me that, oh yeah, we got a side by side commercial under caution when we'll be at full screen caution with 20 to go. And I said, we're on Prime, buddy. We're not going to get that. And we didn't. We had 60 some laps of green flag coverage at the end of the race. I would pay $20 a month for this.
Yeah.
I
Me personally, I have YouTube TV. The only thing I watch is NASCAR.
Yeah,
I mean, get rid of the $80 subscription. I'd pay $20 a month for NASCAR, not pay for anything else.
yeah.
Most of my other stuff I watch is just YouTube. So
I think that you should be able to buy a subscription to Flow and you get an Amazon Prime Pass,
yeah,
so you can watch all the racing all the time.
yeah,
That would be awesome. Prime is doing a great job. Love everybody that they have on the broadcast. Um, uh, some of these guys, I don't know if I've just heard them so long that I'd like. I'm not. I don't get all excited for them to talk, but I like hearing what Corey LaJoy has to say. I love Carl Edwards. I was a fan of his for a while. Uh, got I got really no issues with Adam Alexander, but it's just a voice I've heard for a long time. And he doesn't do anything for me, but I don't dislike him. Uh, Dale, he kind of got that little bit of an accent, and he's putting a slide on him. He talks the way he does, and that's always interesting to throw that in there as well. I like Dale as a person, so I enjoy listening to him. It'd be like if you were calling race, you could be terrible at the calling, but I'd be interested to hear you talk about racing.
I put everybody to sleep.
You might. Uh, okay. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on from the Cup race before I give you my surprise question here?
I can't think of nothing.
Okay. Um, hang on. I need to pull up the standings, and that'll help me with this question. So you know how they're doing the bracket challenge,
Yeah,
and how NASCAR, as they do most things, they've kind of messed it all up
yeah.
compared to how Denny had it set up with the Dirty Mo Media bracket challenge. Uh, I'm going to I want you to, we're going to clip this. I'll even snap my fingers so you can see that in the editing process. Uh, I want to clip this right here. I'm going to put drivers head to head for you this week at Michigan. This is just a 1 week thing. I want you to tell me who's going to finish ahead of the other driver.
Okay.
So I'm just going to pick the names here. There's no real seeding with this. This is just me going through it. Okay. Noah Gregson and Ty Gibbs.
Hmm. I think I'm gonna go Ty Gibbs.
Okay. Brad Keselowski and Austin Dillon.
Man, I feel like I've seen Austin Dillon up front a lot, like 15th to 10th range, not like. But I think I gotta go Brad Keselowski.
Okay. John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
And them legacy cars have been looking better. Uh, I'm going John Hunter Nemechek. That was gonna be a tough one, but
Josh Berry, AJ Allmendinger.
boy, these ones are tough.
I know.
Uh, man, I'm gonna go Josh Berry.
Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric.
Austin Cindric.
Oh, but I thought Alex Bowman was so great.
Actually, Austin Cindric's the one I picked earlier over Alex Bowman, so
That's true. Um,
I'm consistent at least.
Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott.
Where did Chastain finish this last race? I guess it depends where Chase Elliott starts and if he can stay up front. uh, Michigan has been one of his better tracks, especially. I'm just going to go Chase Elliott. I really don't know with him. He's this and that. I think overall he's been a more consistent driver than Chastain, but he doesn't have quite the winning speed that he should have.
Ryan Blaney,
Ryan Blaney.
Denny Hamlin.
I'm going Ryan Blaney this week.
Okay. Last one. I want to put this all on a graphic so that we can track this.
Okay.
Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson.
I'm going Kyle Larson.
It's a pretty safe bet. Yeah. Those are just the matchups that I would be interested in seeing. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I literally just went through the standings, picked guys that were relatively close to each other in the standings, and matched them up against each other. That was my only logic in that whole scenario there. So I'll be curious to see. You're really good at the picks. You've got an 80-point lead on me. You've picked a lot of winners this year, so I'll be curious to see what how that all shakes out and whether you're right or wrong or what the case is. The notable point scorers for this week: Denny Hamlin won the first stage, Blaney won the second stage in the race, and Denny Hamlin had the fastest lap award. Uh, don't really know of anything else that we need to cover from the Cup race itself. Do you?
I can't think of anything.
Your boy Justin Allgaier won the Xfinity Series race. Did you watch the race?
Yeah,
How good was it?
it was phenomenal.
Was it really good?
When you compare it to the Cup race, I thought it was great. I don't know. I just remember watching some of the moves that watching Zillage and Allgaier race each other. Um, kind of two of the I root for Junior Motorsports as a whole. I mean, Allgaier is my main guy, but I am fascinated with Zillage and the talent he has. Hopped in them cars this year, and he's running with the big guys. And you can tell the first half the race he figures it out, and then by the end of the race he's running top five, and I think that's pretty incredible. I mean, had he got out on that, taking the lead on that one, I don't know, it was a final restart, however it played out. I think he probably would have won the race. It was dirty air still affects the Xfinity cars, and Allgaier and Zillage were so equal. I think whoever got out in front of each other probably would have won the race. But the one move that Zillage made, passing the 00, that's Sheldon Creed. Uh, just watching that car be able to drive up to him, pack air on him, move him out of the groove, and get underneath him and drive by. It was just phenomenal to watch. Just seeing cars being able to pass each other, watch them out of control at times, and being able to catch the cars. Cup cars. I mean, you see them save them, but it's almost like a snap, and it's a miracle if they do save it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's a little more wiggle room with Xfinity cars. I think it puts on a better race.
So you would say that the Xfinity Series race is booming.
Sure.
I don't know where they came up with that slogan, but it's irritating me to hear Xfinity Internet is booming.
Well, I know Antonio Brown always did something with booming, and
Yeah,
I
he
don't know
did.
if it's stemmed from that or he got it from somewhere or what. I don't know.
I don't know. Uh, your other boy, Rajak Ruth, because you're just a Hendrick homer, ended up winning the Truck Series race. It's a good win for him. I didn't think that the truck race was phenomenal. I thought that Dirty Air was also a big deal in that one too. Uh, I did get to watch at least the end of that race. Uh,
Yeah, it was. I mean, when you're rooting for the guy leading and the two top drivers are running him down, you kind of made it like a nerve-wracking on your edge of your seat experience when you're rooting for that guy. I don't know what it would have been not rooting for him, but um, I there was still a lot of air blocking in that and stuff similar to Cup Series, but it still seemed like a better race than what the Cup cars put on.
I would
I,
agree.
yeah,
I'd
but
probably agree
I
with
mean,
that.
but the Xfinity Series is by far number one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No Xfinity race this week, and then the trucks also go to Michigan with the Cup cars. Um, just one other thing that I was going to talk about. Um, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Yeah,
I have one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that was I didn't know about this till the teardown covered it about Jim France wanting to put a driver in a car. Have you heard about this?
I heard about it because of
DBC?
Denny, I think.
Oh, Denny. Uh, Denny and DBC both talked about it.
They both had completely different views on
Yeah,
it.
they did. So I'm curious to know, A, what your view is as a Hendrick Homer. But first of all, I'm not a Jim France guy. Don't like him. Don't want anything to do with him. I saw there was a picture on Twitter this week. It showed the underbody pan of the Gen 7 car. It said, "Name something more useless than this." And I took a screenshot of Jim France
I did see that.
and
Yeah.
posted that. Yeah, not a big Jim France guy. Uh, don't like the way that he's running the sport. Don't like the direction we're going as a whole. Don't like the things that he's trying to innovate into the sport, and the Gen 7 car being the thing. Uh, he's a big IMSA guy, and NASCAR is not IMSA. and he's trying to make it into IMSA, and yeah, just not into any of that. I can't think of a thing that I like about Jim France. Um, and so my view on this might be a little skewed because of that. Bottom line is, for those that don't know, Jim France has some driver that he wants to put in a car. And guess where he went when he wanted to put this driver in a Cup Series race car?
Spire.
No, that's not where he went originally. He went to Hendrick Motorsports
Okay.
and Chevrolet, who did the Garage 56 stuff,
Well, Hendrick.
and Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Seems to me like there might be a little bit of favoritism there. When the owner of the league says, "Oh, you know who I'm gonna hire, or who I'm gonna get a hold of to put my driver in their car,
Yeah.
it's gonna be Hendrick Motorsports."
Well, I mean, if it's top running team, I swear I would want my driver.
He probably should have put him in the 48 car.
Yeah.
But but then guess what? There was a problem. Hendrick can't run another car because they're full.
Yeah.
If you own the series, wouldn't you have that?
Yeah, that would have surprised me knowing that they can't run a fifth car.
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
They do have a rookie provision, I thought. At one time, you like Chase Elliott ran a 25 car for like 6 or 7 races max or whatever. But I don't know if that still is out there or how that works now. But
whatever the rules are, you would think that Jim France would know 'em.
yeah,
There's obviously a reason why they can't. So, I don't know. That seems like that's a little insane. But at the same point, everybody wants to talk about Roger Penske and say, how is this situation any different from that? He owns Indianapolis, he owns the IndyCar series, and he owns race teams in the
yeah,
series. Do you think it's any different?
probably not. No.
Do you support the Jim France trying to put a driver in a car?
Um, the way they talked about it on DBC, I don't know. I feel indifferent. Um, I guess you'd have to wait and see how it played out, really, for me to give any more detail. I mean, I know people hate on Penske in the IndyCar series. I don't know if that's just because they're the fastest cars out there, whether or not there is cheating allegations or not, other than what obviously went on at Indianapolis this past weekend, but or couple weekends ago. Um, I mean, if all he was going to do is give some money to put a driver in another car, it was aspire a car at the end of the point or whatever. But that to me didn't really feel like it would affect anything. But um,
What if this, let's look back in time and say that his driver was Shane Van Gisbergen at the Chicago Street Course. Say you put him in a trackhouse car. Let's say that was Jim France backing that and Shane won. Like, people would have freaked out, right? Like, this is the guy's first start in NASCAR and he comes here and wins.
okay, I
No, I mean, but you agree that that would be the reaction, right?
probably the
Yeah.
reaction, yeah. But I mean, me particularly, if the guy was fast and knew how to drive the car, he's going to win the race. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not arguing that they
yeah,
would have been legitimate. I'm just saying that the perception would have been really bad.
sure.
Does that mean that he shouldn't be allowed to, though?
I don't think so. No.
Do you think that Roger Goodell should be able to own a football team?
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
those are hard questions to
Yeah.
answer, right? So I guess my issue with it is, don't like Jim France, don't like anything he does. So it's easy to say that I wouldn't support this, and I'm not saying that that is my opinion, but it sure is interesting, and I think it's kind of weird the way that it all kind of came together and then fell apart, and just kind of makes me wonder what the bigger picture was there. But I don't know that I would have loved it or hated it. It just kind of, I probably would have been just kind of indifferent toward it. I kind of would have been like, what is he doing? Like, you own the series. What are you doing putting a car in here? But at the end of the day, I don't think it really would have been that big of a deal.
Yeah. I mean, didn't the founders of NASCAR, Bill France, and all of that race cars in the series?
I don't know if it was in the series though. I know he raced, but I don't know if it
Yeah.
was in the series of NASCAR.
Yeah. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure.
But, I
But
mean, as long as it's a third party inspecting the cars and whatnot, I mean, I don't see what the problem is.
yeah,
I mean, Penske got in trouble for their cars at Indianapolis. They got, what I don't know if they had anything after like a points penalty like NASCAR would probably do in that situation and how IndyCar works, but their cars had to start from the rear of the field. Um,
Well, even when 100 cars get penalized, they seem to be able to get out of their penalties pretty easily. So
yeah, hey, NASCAR actually made it harder for them to get out of their penalties with the way the appeal system works. So
allegedly,
the appeals guy are not affiliated with NASCAR. So
did they drive in NASCAR?
tell you the truth, not. I don't think they drive currently in NASCAR. No, but
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just kind of a weird situation. Kind of interesting. Uh, Expectations for Michigan? Do you think it's going to be a good race? Think we're going to see the same as what we saw at Nashville?
um, it's a wider track. Hopefully, they can spread out enough so the air blocking is harder.
That'd be nice.
That'd be, yeah. I can't think back to last year's race enough to remember how it was. Oh, it was rain delayed. That race was. I think that's the one Denny got behind the wake and lost it.
Oh,
Now that I think about it, so but I don't remember who won
I don't either.
because I think that one started on a Sunday and ended Monday,
Okay.
and that was either last year or 2 years ago. That's all I remember.
Well,
But
like you said, it's a wide racetrack. Maybe Carson Hocevar can find his way around without hitting people. We'll see how that all works out.
yeah,
Anything else you want to touch on?
that's all I got.
That's all I got too. I appreciate those that watch, listen, and tune into what we got going on here in the garage area. And we'll talk to you guys after Michigan.